Ronaldinho, top 10 most unbelievable goals in his career. Intro, when football smiled. Before stepovers became statistics. Before pressing systems dominated tactics. Before numbers defined greatness. There was a player who made football feel like childhood again. A player who didn't just score goals. He painted them. Wasn't just a footballer. He was rhythm. He was imagination. He was joy wrapped in a number 10 shirt. When he touched the ball, defenders froze. When he smiled, stadiums leaned forward. And when he scored, it wasn't just a goal. It was theater. Today, we relive the 10 most unbelievable goals of a magician who turned football into art. 10. The no-angle impossible finish. Barcelona vs Chelsea, 2005. Under the floodlights of the Champions League, Ronaldinho did something that made physics question itself. Facing, he received the ball surrounded by defenders. No backlift, no space, no angle, just instinct. He stood almost still, and toe-poked the ball with surgical precision into the bottom corner. The goalkeeper didn't even react. Because no one expected that shot. Not from there, not like that. It wasn't power, it wasn't distance, it was audacity, and that's what made it unbelievable. 9. The 4-0 Yard free kick that broke silence. Barcelona vs Sevilla, La Liga. Most players measure distance. Ronaldinho measured possibility. From nearly 40 yards out, against, he placed the ball down. No drama, no theatrics, just a calm smile. He struck it clean, not just with force, but with curve and vision. The ball bent late, the keeper misjudged it, and suddenly, Camp Nou erupted. It wasn't just a free kick. It was a reminder. Range meant nothing to him. 8. The Elastico masterpiece. Barcelona vs Real Madrid, El Clásico. At the legendary, Ronaldinho delivered humiliation wrapped in elegance. Facing, he glided past defenders using his iconic Elastico, that quick outside-to-inside flick that seemed impossible to stop. One defender beaten, then another, then a final calm finish into the corner. The home crowd stood and applauded. Applauded. For an opponent, that's how beautiful the goal was. It wasn't just skill, it was artistry in enemy territory. 7. The solo run through chaos. Barcelona vs Villarreal. He started near midfield. One defender approached. Ronaldinho slowed time. A feint, a spin, a burst. He dribbled through yellow shirts like they were training cones. The balance, the control, the confidence. Then a delicate finish past the goalkeeper. The stadium gasped, because that goal didn't look rehearsed. It looked improvised, and that's what made it magical. 6. The overhead shocker. Barcelona vs Villarreal. Yes, again Villarreal. Because sometimes one opponent simply cannot solve the puzzle. The cross floated in awkwardly. Most players would control. Ronaldinho didn't. He jumped, adjusted midair, and bicycle kicked it into the net. Clean, effortless, unexpected. Even his teammates looked stunned. Because when Ronaldinho felt the moment, he didn't calculate, he created. 5. The World Cup Thunderbolt. Brazil vs England, 2002 World Cup. The stage, the opponent. From the right flank, Ronaldinho saw something no one else did. The goalkeeper slightly off his line. From distance, from an angle, he launched it. Was it a cross? Was it a shot? Only he truly knows. But the ball soared over the keeper and dipped into the net. Silence from England fans. Explosions from Brazil supporters. That goal wasn't just technical brilliance. It was audacious genius on the biggest stage. 4. The free kick under the wall. Before players began consistently shooting under jumping walls, Ronaldinho was already thinking differently. Against in the Champions League, the wall jumped. He rolled it underneath. Simple, brilliant, forward thinking. He wasn't just creative, he was inventive. He saw football differently. 3. The backheel that defied logic. Inside the box, back to goal, defender tight. Most players pass. Ronaldinho backheeled it into the net. Not by accident, by design. He knew exactly where the goalkeeper stood. That goal wasn't flashy, it was clever, and that intelligence made it unforgettable. 2. The hat-trick Clásico masterclass. Back at the Bernabeu, against Real Madrid, 3 goals, each different, one with speed, one with power, one with elegance. The third sealed it, a sprint past defenders, a calm finish, and again, applause from rival fans. Not many players in history have achieved that. But Ronaldinho did. Because greatness sometimes forces respect. 1. The goal that summed him up. There are technically better goals. There are longer range strikes. But the number one spot belongs to the goal that captured his essence. Barcelona vs AC Milan. Champions League. He received the ball in traffic. 3 defenders closing, he danced between them, not rushed, not stressed, smiling, then a smooth finish into the corner. It wasn't the most powerful. It wasn't the longest, but it was Ronaldinho. Grace under pressure, joy under spotlight, art under intensity, and that's why it stands above the rest. Why his goals felt different. Many players score, few entertain. Ronaldinho's goals felt like performances. They weren't robotic, they weren't mechanical, they were expressive. He didn't just beat defenders physically. He embarrassed them creatively. The impact on football. Before Ronaldo and Messi dominated the numbers, Ronaldinho dominated imagination. He inspired a generation. Kids tried the elastico. Street players copied his free kicks. Young stars watched his highlights on repeat. Even legends praised him, because when he was at his peak, few matched his influence. The difference between magic and machine. Ronaldinho wasn't obsessed with stats. He was obsessed with joy. And that's why his unbelievable goals still feel alive. Because they weren't calculated for efficiency. They were spontaneous, emotional, human. The smile after every goal. Watch closely. After scoring, he didn't scream in aggression. He smiled, as if to say, "Did you enjoy that?" Football became lighter when he played. And heavier when he left. Why these goals still matter. Years pass. New stars rise. Records fall. But highlights endure. And Ronaldinho's goals, they don't age. Because creativity doesn't expire. Conclusion: when football was art, there have been more clinical scorers, more disciplined athletes, more statistically dominant players, but few have been more unbelievable. Ronaldinho's top 10 goals aren't just a list. They're memories. Moments when time slowed. Moments when defenders froze. Moments when football felt pure. And that's why, even today, when fans talk about magic, they still say his name. Ronaldinho.